Hello, I am once again having a conversation today with my favorite organizer, Janet Schiesl from Basic Organization. And we are going to be talking today about what to do, what steps to take when you want to put your house on the market. So you've decided you're going to sell. So what are the steps that you're going to take? But before we go there, I want you to click on the subscribe button. And of course, we definitely appreciate your comments, and we would love to hear what questions you have on the subject matter. So without further ado, let me welcome Janet. Janet, good morning.
Good morning, Adrienne. How are you?
I am good. So let's try to walk our potential seller through what steps to take when planning, looking at this property that you've been living in, let's just say 20, 30, 40 years, and you have the daunting suspicion that there's a lot of work that you're going to do. How would you go about planning that?
Okay, so you want to start downsizing if you have lived in a house a really long time. It doesn't matter if you're moving to a house that's the same size or bigger. Everybody stashes stuff in the back of the closets or in your storage room or in your garage or attic that you don't even know that are there anymore. So really start decluttering. I would start in the spaces that you use the least often. Get the big stuff out. Maybe you don't have to get down to the nitty gritty, but sometimes you show up and half the garage is full of sports equipment and stuff like that. Just get the big stuff out to begin with. And then depends on when you want to put your house in the market. When you're getting close to putting your house in the market, you need to really look at the spaces that people are going to walk through and don't want to see clutter. Maybe if you're selling your house, nobody's going to say, oh, I can't buy that house if you have boxes in your garage or in your storage room in your basement, but you don't want a lot of clutter around the house. That tells somebody that you don't maintain your space. So you really want to clear off countertops, the tops of furniture, that kind of thing, but you're selling your house. So you need to market it as a house for the buyer, not the wonderful house you live in with all your personality. So then you want to really start to declutter the storage spaces, the linen closets, the kitchen cabinets, the coat closet, the clothes closets. You want somebody to be able to open a door or cabinet and say, oh wow, look at all the space that's in here. Which means nothing's falling off of the shelves. There's space in between the hangers. There's really not a lot of stuff on the floor. It's like you would see in a magazine or in or at a department store, right? Something
right.
You're really styling it.
So let me interrupt you there for a second. What I tell my clients is, and you hit the nail on the head, we are in the business of selling square footage, not furniture, not furnishings, and not decor. And so you basically take off 80% of the books from the shelves, empty the cupboards, not completely. You want to let people know what the space is used for, because part of the education is also, let's just say you have a closet where you put your shoes, just a few, where you put your bags, just a few, maybe a few hanging clothes. It teaches people not only this is a closet, it teaches people, wow, there is a lot of square footage in here, but it also gives an idea of what goes where. We as individuals, we're not very creative. We need to be shown.
Yes, and you can take that a little bit further too. If you are downsizing and you're not going to have the same number of bedrooms or bathrooms or, not as many sitting room type of rooms, you can really declutter those and just end up with the sofa in the sitting room or just the bed and a nightstand and a lamp in a bedroom, because it still tells that buyer this is what it is. It shows them that there's a lot of space in the room, and you've taken out anything you're not moving with you. Go ahead and make those decisions.
But to me, it's also about, I always tell my clients, it's a daunting task. You should hire a professional. And that's where you come in. Can we talk a little bit about the process? because, we're talking about maybe letting a client know that they should leave a bed with a couple of nightstands and a couple of lamps, and that's it, and take everything out. But many clients don't know what they should and should not do, and what they should keep or shouldn't keep. So I always encourage them to hire a professional such as yourself. So let's just say that is the case. How would you go about, starting the process with them?
Yes, so for a lot of clients who want to know, when I first meet with them, do they know where they're moving? And do they have a floor plan? And do they, so we can visualize what they have now and where they're going. So
Okay.
what furniture is going to fit? Well, how has your lifestyle changed that, there's certainly things in your home that you're not going to take with you. But, the last thing you want to do is to move your buffet that goes in your dining room and then realize that it doesn't fit on the wall, between the window and the door in your new dining room. So to have a space plan is really important. Then it gives you, what I think is it gives you the time to really come to terms with that you have to let go of these things because they're not going to fit in your new space. You don't have to make that snap judgment. We state the facts and then you live with it. But it also gives you time to find a good home for these items. What I usually tell people is, kind of work with the hierarchy of you have things you're not going to take with you. So first, do you want to ask family if they want anything? And then you go down to like friends or colleagues or something. You ask them if they would want anything. And then you're going to look at what is left and if it's sellable. And then it all depends on what it is, on what venue you would try to sell things at, and kind of the amount of stuff you have to sell as well. If you only have a couple of items, then an estate sale isn't the right thing for you.
Right.
But if you're selling the majority of what's in your house, then you really want to look at an estate sale. So and then after selling, and then it's giving away. So again, we also have a lot of resources for clients that, depends on what you want to donate, that we can try to help you get it to the correct charity to donate items. So you just use that.
Right. One thing that I also feel is important, and I think that the steps that you just mentioned cover that, is that I have clients that tend to pack everything and then ship it, put it in storage, and then they move into the next property and they say, I will figure it out then. I think it's the wrong strategy. If you declutter before you go, and like you say, take into consideration where you're going. Let's just say you don't. Let's just say, I have clients like that. I have clients that are moving from Boston to Maryland, and they didn't know where they're going to be living because they didn't know the area. So they took up a rental, but at least she had the precaution of using a service such as yours to make sure that she didn't track down from Boston to Maryland things that she really, really wasn't going to use anymore, because the space that she was looking into, you're leaving a 7,000 or 8,000 square foot home and you're coming into a 3,000 square home because it's just your husband or your significant other and you, or maybe it's just you yourself. It's like, why should I trek down with all this stuff? So my recommendation is also, try to get rid as much as you can. It's part of the process. It's like, I call it losing weight.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Moving can be very expensive. And so why move something that you're not going to need once you get to your new location? And why people do that, why people move that stuff and then put it in storage, is the decisions are really hard. Oftentimes. But if your intent is to not have a storage unit in your next place, you make those decisions before, because why delay the decision, pay for the moving, and then you have, then you still have the task of making those decisions. Use the deadline of a move date in order to do it. Put some, don't procrastinate, put a deadline on it, give yourself the the reason to make those decisions now. And also, once you move, you're not going to be as familiar with your new location. So what charities are around, who can help me sell these items, all that stuff. You have your contacts at your current location.
Right.
Oftentimes too, it will help somebody who's moving from a metropolitan area like DC to a more rural area, and they don't realize that the resources are not there.
Mhm.
So take advantage if you have the resources here.
So tell me a little bit, one of the other daunting tasks that I have found when decluttering a home that you've been living in for many years is paper. Paper. So, yeah, because many a times, I know many homeowners don't know that you don't have to save every light bill or every water bill and things like that. So
Yes.
what do you recommend there, and what can you do for potential clients that are
Yeah.
planning on moving?
There's a lot of people in this world that can be very organized in all of their spaces in their home, but paper is a nemesis to them, because it holds information. And you think, I need to keep, this is information I need to have, I may need to have, this is important information. But there are, we've gone digital with a lot of things, and there are, easier ways to find things a lot of times, unless your paper is super organized. There's easier ways to find it. So one suggestion I make to people is, when you're looking through your items, you say, if I needed to find this information, would I look for it on a piece of paper, or would I get it off the internet? Or where could I find it? If I needed this information and didn't have this piece of paper, where could I find it? So all of your statements, bills, that type of thing can all be found on your water company's website, or your credit card's website, or something like that. And they have them back, for years and years and years. So that is, a way. You can also, if you have an all-in-one printer, if you have a little bit to scan, go ahead and do that. If you have a scanner, you go ahead and do that. But there's an awful lot of paper you can get rid of. When I started my business, the IRS would not accept a digital copy of a document they needed, but they do now. So you can be rest assured that if it's on your computer or in the cloud, you're pretty safe if the IRS ever came calling. So it's kind of a comfort factor. People still receive bills and statements in the mail, and that's fine. For a lot of people, they need that visual to prompt them to pay the bill, and then email doesn't work that way. So if you are getting paper statements, I would say keep them a year. And if you're comfortable with that, you've got a year's worth, especially
Right.
financial documents of any kind. When you, like right now, we're starting to receive all our tax paperwork from
Exactly.
everywhere. And when you receive that year-end statement, then that's your year-end statement. That's your statement for
Right.
2020. So you can let go of all of that other paper. This is a good time of year to be cleaning out your files as paperwork comes in, or set aside a Saturday or whatever to clean out your files, either right before or right after you do your taxes.
Okay.
Is a really good
I have
time.
another question regarding prepping your house for sale. I am a fan of having a stager come in, even when the homeowner still lives there. It doesn't have to be an empty property. Empty properties are very easy to stage, but it's somebody that comes in and again focuses on how can we maximize the square footage. And as you said correctly, an organized and decluttered home gives the impression to the people that walk through it that you really took care of it. So when it comes to that, do you often work, in tandem with the stager?
Yes, we have, certainly, because a stager is not an organizer, and an organizer is not a stager.
Mm-hmm.
So people have told me, like, oh, I worked with the stager. All they did was take everything and throw it in boxes and put it in the garage. And then, it's really easy to never open those boxes and delay those decisions on what needs to be kept. And now it's chaotically in a box. But we will go in and help you do the decluttering and making the decisions and getting rid of the things you don't need. But then you're left with the house that that needs staging. So I'm not, I'm not versed in. I don't give recommendations too much for people to be like, oh, you should get rid of this extra chair or these.
Right.
A lot of times I see a lot of tables that really probably work. They're useful to the homeowner, but they, I think they look like extra.
Mhm.
Another thing that a stager will tell people, and I even sometimes I go a little bit further, is also you don't want a lot of stuff on your walls. Same thing, you want it to be open and airy. So they might pick a handful of art that they want to keep in a space, but then you need to get rid of everything else. I also encourage people to consider that the safety factor when you're having your house staged. So
Right.
the artwork they're going to leave is very impersonal. It's a painting or a print or something. No family photos. You have to really consider that people that you don't know are going to be walking through your house. You don't want them to know that you have 3 grandchildren. You don't want them to know that you go to Outer Banks on vacation.
Exactly. You want it, and you want to make it appealing to 80% of the people that walk through it, if not 100. So you can't have either motifs or something that are not in line with certain people's views. So you have to be very something, like
You're really trying to
a.
market your house. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's great to know, because I do feel that when you work in tandem, you come in and help the client declutter, but yet the stager comes in and says, in addition to that, these books must go because I'm organizing them in this way for staging. And then you can assist the client in the packing and especially labeling. Yeah, I'm a fan of labels. If it doesn't have a label, you don't know where it's going to end up in.
Yeah.
So I think it's always good to have a service in tandem where you both can come up with something, and then the end result looks particularly.
Let me add one more note to the staging portion. So I would encourage you to walk through your house and again, consider safety. So pack up your important paperwork and put it someplace safe. Give it to somebody else or whatever. Jewelry.
Pharmaceuticals.
Yes. Any kind of collection you may have. I went to a house once and they had a TV room down in the basement, and they had a lovely collection of sports memorabilia, signed, framed, up on shelves, beautiful. I said, pack it all up because it's just too easy for somebody to walk through your house and put something in their pocket. Or
we try our best for that not to happen. But yes, and in addition to that, if it's baseball or hockey, I have a client that has these beautiful puck boxes, etc. That might not be something that is attractive to the next person that wants to make that room a simple TV room. So it also helps to declutter, to make it, I wouldn't say impersonal, but to just give that room the title that it should have and the space that it should have.
Yes, that's very true. Oftentimes stagers will take you've created a home office in a bedroom, or a craft room in a bedroom, or part of your basement, and not everybody needs a craft room. So they'll want to remake it into a bedroom by simply just putting a nightstand, a lamp, and an air mattress in, to just tell people this is a bedroom.
In many instances, what we do, especially when the perception of the space is like, this is too small for a bedroom. That happened to me while I was staging a property in Maryland, in Bethesda. Everybody thought, including the owner, that space could never be a bedroom. And I'm like, of course it can. So I asked the stagers to put in a queen bed and 2 nightstands, and we were done. It was a perfect bedroom. It was just perceived as though it was not going to work. So I am with you. Sometimes the spaces are a little bit tight, and that's why I favor when people put in, especially nowadays, now in these unusual times when they'll put in an office, because it also, we have to be a little bit more creative nowadays. And we've talked about this in our series, you and I, where we have to make do with giving spaces a different title so people can work at home and study at home, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway,
Yeah,
any
I
other
mean,
suggestions?
yeah, when you're living in your house, you need to make it work for you.
Mhm.
But when you're selling your house, you need to make it work for the majority of the population.
There you go. There
So,
you go.
and if you are selling a 5-bedroom house, it needs to have 5 bedrooms in it. It needs to be obvious. If you're selling a house and you have a toy room, you know, not everybody has young kids that has a lot of toys. So it doesn't need to be a toy room anymore. That might be the hardest
Agreed.
part.
Agreed. Or you have you set up as a nursery when in essence you might have a couple of people my age moving in, and that's about the last thing I want to see in a bedroom. Unless you have grandkids or things like that. But I agree with you. We have to give it sort of an impersonal note, and in line with the description, these spaces should align with the description.
Yes.
Totally agreed. Any other suggestions that you have for clients that are on the way to putting their house on the market?
Yeah. I would say, you know, work with it, get, like I said at the beginning, get the big stuff out, get get your stager in. We can certainly help you with kind of the A to Z and the project management type of thing. But you don't have to do absolutely everything. Or maybe these days you do, because the market, you know, houses sell so fast. But if you have some time, you don't have to do absolutely everything before you put your house on the market. So you don't have to clean out under your bathroom sink. Maybe you don't have to organize those papers. You have to get them in a container and put away, but you don't have to have the perfect filing system right that minute. There is where we work with people all the time who have put their house on the market, and we can come in and work with them for the morning or the afternoon, and still, you know, when we leave, it's still at home ready to sell.
Right.
So, you know, if time is of the essence, you don't need to be 100% done before that sale sign goes up.
I agree. I agree. Well, Janet, as usual, this has been a great conversation. I hope, I really hope that it's helpful for people out there. Janet Schiesl with Basic Organization, I do recommend to all my clients, even when they're thinking of putting their house on the market months down the line. You know, I work with clients that are putting their house on the market in a couple of years. It's never too late to start the process, especially if you've been living there for a long time. So I definitely recommend contacting her. You'll see her information at the bottom of this video. I definitely would encourage people to at least have a conversation. And I will be also supplying some material, because she's got loads of material that can definitely help you. So look out for that. And we'll see you soon when we continue with our series. Janet, as usual, thank you very much.
Thanks, Adrian.